Hey everybody, Mike here. So, a lot of people have asked me over the years how I come up with the inspirations for my characters, and so I figured I'd make a little video to just talk about, the characters that have appeared on my show and just where I came up with the idea to create them or implement them into the series. So, I just wanted to take a bit of time to discuss all of that. Okay, so the MCrewDude, obviously my main character, and of course, I really wanted to develop some kind of persona, kind of like what Doug Walker does with the Nostalgia Critic and stuff, or how other YouTubers just have like their own persona. They dress up as this one character that they use for the whole show, and that's pretty much what I did. So, MCrewDude is essentially an overly emphasized version of my personality, which I put a lot of myself into him, but at the same time, I just like to really take everything to the next level and just really go out if I get angry or if I, decide to do something really silly. And so, um, so that's kind of how he's been. Like, of course, MCrewDude is cynical. He drinks and stuff, even though I haven't shown him drinking on screen. I make a lot of references to him being an alcoholic, but still. The outfit that he wears all the time with the leather jacket and fedora, I actually got that outfit when I was out with my parents at Burlington Coat Factory. And so yeah, one time my dad and I just picked up that outfit, and I thought it looked really good, and that's actually what I wore for my graduation senior pictures in 2012. Well, not during graduation, but like beforehand. So they took senior pictures of us, and that was the outfit I wore, like with the gray t-shirt and everything, and I thought to myself, I look really good wearing this outfit, so I figured, hey, I might as well have that be the primary outfit for my character. And so I did, and it just stuck, and I thought it looked really good, and what's funny is that sometimes I even go in public dressed that way with, when I do filming or right after filming. Like, sometimes I film an episode and I go off to get a coffee or do something else and I just wear the outfit, and it's kind of funny. I like it. So yeah, sometimes I've even had, like, Gary, like, I remember during a Scrapped episode I had Gary with me, and, like, some people were kind of questioning it, so it's kind of funny when I go out in public dressed as a character right when I'm filming, so I just have to call out and reassure them, I'm not insane, I'm just doing a YouTube video, so it's funny stuff like that. And, so I take a lot of these bad or good movies and games, some of which I grew up with, and I just, when I write my scripts, I really put a lot of emphasis, like, if I get upset, I like to get a little angry to the next degree, or sometimes when I'm praising something, I just kind of calm down, and I just kind of speak normally, but overall, I've been a very soft-spoken person, and I definitely try to, speak a lot more clearly when I'm talking as the MCrewDude, and so yeah, that's pretty much how I came up with the idea for him. Okay, Jason Stone. One of my original characters, well, one of the first ones anyway. The whole thing with Jason is that I didn't really have any big thing in mind when I picked out his costume. I just got like a red hoodie with a black beanie and sunglasses, and I kind of stuck with that, and I was talking in like a really raspy voice, like, "Hey everybody, it's me, Jason Stone." Cause okay, the whole thing how I came up with that voice is, well, first of all, I don't like doing the voice too much because it hurts my throat after a while. Yeah, like that. So how I came up with this is there was I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to come across like I'm trying to harass anybody, but there was a YouTube video. It's not on here anymore. I tried looking for it. It's gone. But there was this one guy who did a video talking about a specific fetish he had, even though he knew nothing about it. Everything he said on that video was 100% wrong. Right, but right before he went into talking about it, he wore sunglasses and started doing like this ridiculous raspy impression of something. And it was like the only funny part of the video, so it's like I kind of thought, what if I, well, not copy it, but take inspiration from it and just make my own interpretation of that. So I thought it'd be kind of funny if I did that. So it paid off effectively, and the original idea of what I had in mind for Jason is that whereas MCrewDude would review movies and video games, Jason would just review television shows. Um, one TV show I had in mind at the time was House of Mouse, which obviously I never did, but Jason would have been in charge of like reviewing that, along with other TV shows and stuff. But of course, I never got around to doing that, and of course, another big staple in his character is that he's a drug addict. So he of course, like at the end of A Friend in Need, indeed, he starts smoking and stuff like that. So that was a part of his character, and he ends up dying from trying to smoke a DVD, like a evil possessed DVD, mind you. So, the reason why I kind of went to kill him and Francois off is because, unfortunately, I just was upset that I couldn't implement them as well as I could. And so, as you notice, they barely made any appearances in my videos. So, unfortunately, with the ideas I had, I just felt I had to, scrap and just kind of start over with new ones, because the ones I had they just weren't working out for me. But that's not to say I didn't like them. I did. It's just I kind of felt it was better if I went to do like something else with my characters. Yes, Francois LeChub. Okay, so part of me really liked Francois because a big part of his character was, of course, being a foodie and just really loving to cook and stuff. So the one thing I originally intended to do for him was have him be a food critic, to go, like, one of the few characters that would actually go out in public and review restaurants and food. Obviously, that never happened. Part of me, it was because, it would have been very awkward. Nobody would have taken it seriously. Nobody would have thought it was funny. Well, maybe some people would have thought it was funny, but it just wouldn't have been in good context. So I ended up scrapping that idea. Sadly, ended up scrapping the character, too. What's weird is that he actually died a lot more violently than Jason did. Yeah, because if you see, well, both of those characters died in Search for the Worst. John actually shot Francois in the head, whereas, like I said, Jason died from smoking a DVD. And so his personality, of course, like, talking, like, I never was really sure what the accent I was going for was supposed to be. Was it supposed to be, like, French or British or something in between? Like, initially, I did take a lot of inspiration from, like, those sort of high-class sounding announcers, who try to sound like they're on, like, high class and everything. And I also took some inspiration from, George Takei, who is an actor who is, like, famous for going, "Oh my!" So I love that. It was funny. So I incorporated a little bit of that into Francois. So, like, of course, his phrase is, "Oh my!" So, I mean, I loved doing that for the time being, like, but of course, like, I never could get Francois or Jason incorporated as well as I wanted them to. So, unfortunately... Oh, what the heck. Sorry about that, there was a pop-up. Anyways, so unfortunately, I just had to, scrap him too, and just go for some new characters. Okay, so, Threefer McDiver. A lot of people, a lot of people didn't exactly like him that much, and I can understand why, because a lot of people thought he was just a Jason clone, and that really wasn't the intended purpose, because, like I've said before, Jason is a drug addict, and Francois... I keep messing up, I'm sorry. Threefer is just a regular lazy character who doesn't want to do anything, and of course he, has no social skills or anything like that, so I thought that was kind of funny to work with. I inspired his character off of, like, some other similar characters. Like, there was, let's see, some characters from High School Story, some modded characters from Fallout or Fallout New Vegas, specifically Niner, if you know who I'm talking about, from New Vegas. So I incorporated a lot of those, like, assets, like, from a bunch of different, like, little characters, just to, sort of put into Threefer, and a lot of other people didn't, tell the difference between the voices very well, so, like, Jason is a lot more gruff, whereas Threefer, he kind of sounds a lot more like this and laid back and everything. So, and he says man a lot. So, yeah, his outfit was a little different than Jason's too. Like, he had a different colored beanie. He also wore sunglasses. He wore an overshirt that was like red. It was like plaid and red. The one thing that's kind of unique about Threefer is that whereas all the characters on the show have like gray t-shirts, he was the only one who didn't. He had a brown t-shirt, so which made changing into him a little bit more difficult because all the while whenever I had to pause and start doing his lines, I had to take off the gray shirt, put the brown one on, and then do his lines. So that was the only thing that took a little bit extra time. I know he made some appearances in my videos, but not as many as Gary or Zeke did. So, I mean, there was that. I mean, I still thought the character was okay. I mean, albeit not the most memorable, but still, I thought he was fun to work with. And now for everyone's fan favorite, Gary. So the one thing I love about Gary is that, he's, of course, not a person, so he's a spider, so what I can do is I can have him in the same shot as another one of my characters when they're talking, which is pretty unique since I play all the characters. I mean, I voice Gary too, but it's just like, he can be in the same shot, and I can just voice over and put the voice filter over it while he's in the same shot, which is something I really liked, because I don't have to like keep pausing all the time, even though there were some times where I had only him in that shot. So, how I came up with Gary is through a couple of things. I mean, in my Impossible Creatures review, I made a reference to having like a technology to create my own sort of pet or creature, which is something I strongly referenced to the episode Hand Banana from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Well, that and Gary being a personal chef too, because in Hand Banana, if you didn't see the episode, Meatwad asks Frylock for a dog, and so Frylock and Meatwad go into Carl's pool, and they turn it into like a genetics lab and create a dog that looks like Shake's hand, and Meatwad names it Hand Banana. But the funny thing is, Hand Banana is able to mind link with Carl, and when everyone's not around, he breaks into Carl's house and rapes him. I mean, I know that's doesn't sound very funny, but the whole thing is that it's just one of those like crude episodes that you have to watch in order to get like the humor and stuff. I mean, because you're not gonna get it if I have to explain it. So, like there was that. Obviously, Gary's not a rapist or anything like that. The other thing I kind of took it from was Billy and Mandy, obviously, because there was an episode where Billy sits on a giant egg and thinks it's gonna hatch into a duck or something, but of course it's a spider, and he's deathly afraid of spiders, and so when he hatches the spider, he inadvertently names it Jeff, and the funny thing is that Jeff, as he grows up, he always tries to be a good son to impress Billy, but Billy's just afraid of him and keeps pushing him away, but no matter what, it's like Jeff always tries to be a good son, and that's the one thing I like. I mean, I did do that with Gary, but the only thing is, of course, I'm not really afraid of spiders. I end up loving Gary in return, and I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to go with, and of course having to say to people that my son is a spider is kind of funny. So like I said, there are a couple times where I've had to go in public with Gary in order to film a video. In one of my scrapped videos, I went into a candy store with Gary, and what's funny is that no one questioned it. I just had to explain I was doing a YouTube video, and like I don't know like what they were thinking. They probably thought I was crazy or something, but yeah, it was still pretty funny. And so this is Gary right here. I actually bought him from the Christmas tree shop. He was initially a Halloween decoration, but what I did for him is I essentially gave him a full-on personality for him being able to program computers, being able to cook, and just be a good spider, rather. And so, yeah, I thought that was really good thing. It wasn't that expensive, but I just love how the sentimental value kind of took over and stuff. So when I have Gary talking, I usually have to hold him by one of his legs and just move him around a little bit. So, like, if he's on my lap, I just gotta, you know, be careful that none of my hands are in the shot, and I just move him about like this while he's talking. And, of course, it's my voice, so when I talk as Gary, I really have to talk very clearly like this, because otherwise it doesn't sound very understandable, because the scary voice filter is echoey. So I'm gonna put it over in editing and talk like,
Hey Dad, you did a really good job today. I hope you do or get straight A's in college.
and then I'm gonna be like, well, thank you, Gary. I hope you do well in web design. So yeah, I mean, obviously I love Gary. He's one of my favorite characters on the show, and yeah, that's how I came up with him. All right, Alex Payton. Yeah, Alex Payton. Unfortunately, this character was really, really underused. I had a big story arc for him, but sadly I never got the chance to put in enough time to create content involving him. But he was the only character to wear a wig. He wore a blonde wig and had like it was kind of like a puffy jacket underneath like a warm shirt. And that was just some stuff that my aunt bought me that I never really wore, so I kind of used that for the character. I mean, nothing personal. It was just, not really my style, but it was alright. It worked for the character, though, because he's just kind of like an awkward, sort of nerdy person that doesn't really have a lot of, or any social skills and just wants to fit in and be popular. And so, when I talk as him, a lot of people found the voice annoying, and I don't blame you. And so, like he goes, "Great house, M," or something like that. So he appeared in a couple of videos where the first one was when I met him. The second one was when he became Santa Claus at the end, because he wanted to, fit in and be a better person, which definitely did have a great story arc involving him, but it just didn't run as deeply as I wanted it to, because I did have other ideas to put him in videos where he would try to be popular only to fail again and try to understand like true values of being yourself and everything, but sadly that never happened, and he just was a very underused character. Finally, Zeke Bouldin. I never really officially said his last name in the videos, but yeah, his last name is Bouldin. It was just a random thing I decided to come up with, and I know I said this in a couple of videos ago, but I just want to say it again. When I installed my special effects app, of course it had a lot of monsters and cool stuff like that, so I really wanted to have a character where I could easily incorporate that. And that's essentially what Zeke did, is that he was a monster hunter, could fight all these like cool monsters and stuff, and I thought that was a really good way to have my effects play off really well. And the character was inspired from some other characters in things like Hollywood U, where it's like, you could have a badass monster hunter who was a good guy and you could be friends with him. And so he was also the only character that I had to introduce with no formal introduction, because he was going to be a part of an Alex video in the past. And so the thing unfortunately with that is it never got made, so Zeke just kind of appeared with no introduction. But of course I did fill in his backstory when it came to Little Panda Fighter, where I meet up with him, which is almost similar to what I wanted to do originally. So I'm running from some monsters and some evil spiders. He fights them off for me and things like that. And so he wears like an eye patch, and the funny thing with the eye patch is, well, first of all, I always try to do something that covers my face so it's not instantly distinguishable, like, it always looks a little bit different from the main character. So the eye patch is, he has sight in the eye. In fact, he has like really like strong vision in that one eye, so it's like he covers it up to prevent it from getting damaged by dust and stuff. I mean, some people didn't think that made sense, but I thought it was a good and funny idea in a way. And so another thing is, some people commented on him being like another yet raspy character, and okay, he doesn't sound quite like Threefer, but he does have a bit of a distinguished, like, "What are you doing out here on your own? Are you mental?" Like, he kind of talks really gruff, but not like husky in a way. So another really funny thing I wanted to do with him was him having like some kind of magic ability, which is the only time I used that was in the Little Panda Fighter review, where he drinks from like an unseen potion and summons like an electric storm and stuff. I thought that was really awesome, and I had fun doing that. But the whole thing is, I never really got any of that to return, unfortunately. I wanted to, but sadly it just never worked out the way I wanted it to. But yeah, Zeke turned out to be one of my favorite characters, and I really like working with him. And so yeah, the overcoat that he wears was actually a cowboy duster I got from a Halloween store, and I thought that worked out because I wanted him to wear like some kind of like long coat like that, because that's kind of what characters like that do, and it's really awesome. So so I thought that was a really fun thing to do. I really liked working with Zeke and like all the other characters too, and I just the way they work off each other is a lot of fun too. Well then, that's pretty much all the characters I have or had, I mean. And I just wanted to tell you how I came up with the inspiration for them, and like I said, they were a ton of fun to act as, including Evil Santa, which I talked about in my commentary video. So besides that, I just wanted to cover this one topic before I have to go back to college pretty soon. Oh, and in case anyone asks, I'm wearing Institute T-shirt from Fallout 4. So yeah, just in case somebody asked about that. So all right, take care, and I hope you guys had a happy New Year.